You'll be able to see it better in a second, but this is the cursed 23 horsepower Intek V-twin that was in the zero turn. And then got taken out and put into a different Husqvarna, trying to become a listed off-road mower, and then this engine still didn't work. So now it is ready to die. Since then, I've had to take the carb off it for the other engine, which of course also failed afterwards. So this thing is just, it's shot, it's cursed, everything about it. I'll see if I can find a picture of the inside of this engine, put it up on screen. All the rust. Bolt broke off. This thing broke the clutch off, and the bolt is stuck in the crank, and for nothing will come out. I mean, nothing. So I drilled a hole straight through it so I could hold just a drive pulley on here and use it to drive something. But yeah, still most unreliable piece of crap ever. Burned up 2 alternators. Killed a starter. This thing is just shot, so it's time for it to go away. So I've just taken the oil pump and the oil pump drive out completely, so this thing will not be able to pump oil, and then I'm going to drain the oil out of it. There's the plate, you can see there's a little bit of wear on it. So this thing is going to blow up. I'm probably not going to run it at wide glide just because I don't need a flywheel magnet flying off as of right now. I'll just run it at full throttle. You can see a little bit of RTV stuck inside there when I put this thing back together to be in the mud mower. That's the screen, and that's the tube that goes to the oil filter. I don't want to take the oil filter off because it's going to spray oil everywhere. So oil pump is out, and I'll just drain the oil. So it won't be able to lubricate at all. I mean, it might have lubrication for a little bit once it starts, but not long at all. So I'm going to throw that back on that plate, and then I'll put this thing on this engine stand I've come up with, and see if I can find a carburetor that will run it, because I've got 3 to choose from, none of which are any good. Yeah, this thing's been sitting out open in the rain just like this for a while now, and at some point that water spilled out of it somewhere, so that's nice. This thing's been completely filled with water to the point where a valve got rusted stuck. So yeah, it's not a first for this engine. Just bending the crap out of these because they're in my way. This is gonna be the easiest carb install on one of these I think I've ever had, because I can just bend the crap out of these, get them out of my way. There's no need for them to have him here. Well, again, I swear if I see a single person saying I'm destroying a valuable engine, just watch the video on where I installed that in a zero turn. You'll understand just how much of a crap engine that thing is. And next, carburetor here. That's the problem. But this carb is, if I can fix that, because I tried this carb before and it just sprayed fuel out of there. If I can fix that, this carb is out of all the ones I have, is probably the most likely to run. I'm trying to do this really fast, so yeah, this is a speed run here to get this engine running again long enough to destroy it. Worst carb rebuild ever. I mean, ever. This might end up giving out before the engine does. I gotta wait for the RTV, or not RTV, but JB Weld to dry on that, and should be able to try it, maybe, I don't know. Had to borrow some bolts out of the valve cover and other places to get the carb on here, but it is on here, so yeah. I also took the fan off the flywheel, so it's not going to be able to move a tiny bit of air still, but it won't move much. So this thing's going to not have any oil pressure at all, and no oil inside it at all, and it's not going to have any cooling. Any blow-by is going to come out here because I'm not going to connect the breather tube up. I put the exhaust on backwards when I put this thing on because it's resting on one of the tines. I can only move that when the engine's not bolted on. So the exhaust is going to shoot that way, but I doubt you'll see any smoke out of that anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm going to continue getting anything I need to get still set up, and then I'll be back when it's time to try and start this thing up and blow it to pieces. Another thing wrong with this engine is these spark plug threads have gotten a lot of rust in them. This was before I had it, but they're it's really bad now because it's sat. Whatever. The plug is basically just barely in there. I don't know if that might. There's a non-zero chance this plug shoots out while it's running. Maybe we'll see. I've seen loose plugs not fly out before, but we'll see about that one. I mean, it is just barely in there. By the way, the reason I had the plugs out was I was trying to get this thing to spin over to see if the pump works, because that starter is so freaking weak. Let me show you. Yeah, I'm using jumper cables and bad ones at that, but still. This is what plugs in. Full EverStart battery. New full EverStart battery. That starter sucks. This engine sucks. I hate Briggs starters. I hate Briggs & Stratton starters and alternators. This is a Briggs & Stratton alternator. It broke in half, and some of the wire is gone now because of that. But this is how big it is. 8 coils. 18 coils on Onan, Kawasaki, and Kohler. This is what they use, and it actually works reliably. There's a big difference. And then, of course, starters just speak for themselves. More like scream for themselves. That's the good starter, Kohler. I've tried 3 different sets of jump cables. I could try 4, but I don't care to because it's not worth it. Again, full battery. Just put a different starter on, or clean the crap out of the connections, and guess what? It still doesn't freaking crank. So I turned the fuel on and immediately started leaking fuel up here. That bulb gasket does not seal. And the fuel pump is leaking from the back side somehow. I've never seen that, ever. I mean, ever. So I'm just gonna let that one leak. I do not care. I don't have any crap left to give to this engine. I've just made a funnel to keep that fuel off the exhaust. Hopefully it just doesn't catch fire. That'd be cool though. So yeah, the show is going on. I don't care what happens. Maybe a huge success attempt, or maybe a huge fail. That spark plug just blew straight out. Oh my gosh. Took me a minute to figure out what happened. I knew that was gonna happen. Golly. Yeah, big reason I wanted air protection there at this slot. You know, I should probably get that here. So now it's going to be running on 1 cylinder if I try and blow it up. But you know what? Ooh, it blew that out too. Fun, real fun. But yeah, I'm still trying to blow this up. Absolutely, it's just going to be on 1 cylinder now. I found it. Huh. Honestly, can't remember what I said like 10 minutes ago, but yeah. I'm going to try and blow it up still. It's just only going to be on 1 cylinder, so that'll be fun. Just do away with this coil here so it doesn't spark. Yeah. 1 cylinder. We'll see what it'll do then. Same garbage again, except now 1 cylinder, since the other cylinder is not capable of doing anything anymore. That's a lock-up scenario, not a blow-up scenario. That's not what I wanted. But of course it was on one cylinder. Tell you what, there was a lot of blow-by. That's for sure. Where we're going, we don't need that guy. Let me get my... Ooh, it might like be totally locked up. Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo. Remember, that was one cylinder only. Ah, oh, dang it, it ain't locked up. Yeah, just tighten the crank a little bit. Just inhaled like half of that. The real question is, will it start back up? Oh, it's going to. Dude, it might actually start up again. That's what we were looking for. Sorry about the terrible camera angle. You know, I wonder what all that smoke is from. It does make you wonder, huh? What? I'm very confused by that. There's smoke coming out of the bolt hole for that valve cover. Oh, it just locked up tight. Something actually blew apart in there that time. Oh, dang it. Trying to figure out what happened here. Pulled this valve cover off. There's a push rod not where it should be. That other rocker's maybe a little loose. I want to see if this piston's moving here. There's just still a non-zero chance this piston actually went. Oh, right, it doesn't move in that direction. Oh, I'll turn it backwards. Going backwards. Very stiff. I don't see why this piston would be seized, because it wasn't even doing anything. Obviously. Smoke rolling out of the valve cover's funny. I don't see it moving in there though. That piston may have blown out. Makes you wonder. Now I gotta try that other cylinder, see if that's moving. And yeah, the carb is still leaking. Otherwise though, it seemed to work amazingly well for being on one cylinder. So I didn't film it stupidly. That piston over there still moves. I spun this thing, or I was able to push the piston in that cylinder. It was at the very top of the cylinder. I was able to push it back down. So that rod came apart in there. There's gonna be some carnage in there to find when we get it apart. Obviously I can't really do anything because with that head being the spark plug blown out, and I'm not going to try any janky stuff to get that plug back in there because I still thought it was in there plenty tight enough to run, not even putting it under load, but just run. But no, that plug blew out immediately. I'm glad I was standing back there versus where I usually stand. I was going to take all the exterior stuff off to not bore everybody with that because obviously it's not part of the failure, but the key's sheared, which isn't a surprise at all. I cannot get that stupid flywheel off for the life of me. Mangling the entire thing. It's just not coming off. That stupid sheared key. It's ridiculous. Okay, time to pull the heads off. Sorry for all the noise from the bees up above. They got in here and they've been stuck in here and yeah, it's whatever. Their problem, not mine. Ooh. Here. Here we go. Like I thought, I didn't expect to see much carnage in this cylinder. There are ring marks in here though, from when this engine was filled with water and crap at one point, and to the point where a valve got stuck on this side. I had to pull the head off to get it to move again. Get back up here! That piston sure did get hot. Position this thing so it won't fall over again. Maybe. I don't know. Alright. My head was probably in the way for most of that. So yeah. Man, it really cooked that thing, huh? So there's like a dent in the middle of it. Doesn't look like it hit the valves though. Here where it doesn't look like it. Does this side look like that? Okay, maybe they're supposed to be like that. Not much crosshatch left in these cylinders, that's for sure. Again, I still really can't turn it very far, so let's get this off. Golly, come on. Quit being so stubborn. There we go. I heard a chunk or two. Oh, I see chunks. Interesting how the cam came out with, no, well, ooh. Okay, let me wipe my hands off. The fun. Cam came out with this. Cam is bent. Holy crap. I'm gonna clean all this up and show y'all what I find. I've never seen a bent lawnmower cam. Alright, I've got most of the carnage. Hang on. Forgot the rod bearings are still covered in some pathetic excuse of oil. So this is the cylinder that the spark plug did not fly out of. As you can see, it's still in one piece. And it's not even that bad. There's some light marking going on there, but definitely have seen worse. So not terrible. And then the cylinder that blew up. It's pretty screwed. Yeah, it did a lot of damage. Bent the camshaft. Pretty badly screwed up a couple of those lobes, or at least that one. Pretty decent thing in it there. There's metal shavings everywhere, but that's not unexpected. All kinds of crap in here. As for crankshaft, there's a piece of metal like actually sticking off of it. I want to get the crank out to see it. There's a chunk taken out of the cylinder. That lifter is stuck in there and it will not move anywhere. The thing that holds the camshaft in, or where it sits in the block, that's cracked all around. That's fun. So yeah, there's damage to everything. There's the cylinder blown up one. I was expecting worse. The rod went first and then it just took out everything with it. Everything else like almost survived though. So yeah, you can see it got really hot. The marks are from me trying to push the piston in and out of the cylinder with a screwdriver before pulling it apart to make sure it was actually blown up. And you see all the damage that occurred here. So that's fun. That's really fun. Like, wow. Anyway, the only real thing to take apart at this point is the crank, so we can get a better look at that. But of course, that flywheel is stuck on, so I'm going to do everything in my power to get that flywheel off. If I can't get it off, the video's going to cut here. If I get it off, well, guess what? The video's going to continue. Well, I managed to get the crank out of it. With the bottom of the block off, I was just able to kind of prop that block up on the back of that tiller there where there's a nice big opening the crank could fall through. And I was able to hit the crank, and it just fell right out of the flywheel in 2 hits. So that worked out pretty good. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So, yeah, that's a cylinder that wasn't firing, obviously. It has no damage at all. Not really anything to learn from this, I guess, aside from the cylinder that was actually trying to keep the engine spinning is the one that destroyed itself. So, yeah, there's that. That bent cam is still crazy to me. Not only did that thing break through the cylinder, but it bent the cam too. And the block, the housing for it. I guess that does it for this video. One last time, this engine was not worth keeping in one piece. It was not. This thing was so screwed on so many levels already. So again, any comment I see hating on me blowing up this engine is just going to get the pin of shame. Seriously. Because I don't get rid of good crap. If you watch the zero turn video, you would see all the effort I put into this engine to try and keep it in one piece. Almost forgot a close-up view of the sheared off key. It's amazingly smooth. Here it is. 2008 23 horsepower Intek V-twin down to the complete, total, and bare block. That guy is actually kind of important. There's all this rust up below where the top bearing or top oil seal would be. This thing must have been filled with water for a lot longer than I had thought.